My dear students of class 9, class 10 A and B. Today I am going to discuss on the following points. In my previous day I taught you on the following points. Point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These points were taught in a previous class. Today I am going to teach you the next part. Sessions, quorum, the speaker, question hour, powers and functions of parliament. First, session. What is sessions? Sessions, the Lok Sabha has to meet 3 times in a year. The Lok Sabha has to meet 3 times or thrice in a year. First, for the budget. It is started from the month of February and continue till May. February to May. This is budget session. And during and then monsoon session. Monsoon session start from the month of July and ends till September. And another session, that is winter session. Winter session starts from November and it ends by December. That means November to December is known as winter session. These are the 3 sessions. The president might call an emergency session to discuss the national crisis and to resolve it. However, the Constitution of India clearly states that interval between the 2 sessions is minimum 6 months. And in these 6 months of time, the members of parliament, means MPs, whenever the parliament meets, the MPs are expected to work on behalf of their own constituencies. When parliament is in session, otherwise it is in recess. But the president addresses the session during the first day when the parliament meets. Now, next point, quorum. What is quorum? Quorum means a minimum number of members required to be present in the house for conducting the debates and discussions in the house. How many number of members? 1/10 of the total number of members required to be present in the house for conducting debates and discussion. This system is known as quorum. Now, the speaker. Next point, the speaker. Who is speaker? Speaker is the head of the parliament. Speaker is the head of the parliament. Who is the head of the parliament? The speaker is the head of the parliament. Why? Because she or he is the presiding officer of the parliament. Presiding officer means head. Under his or her care, all debates and discussions are noticed, and law and order also is maintained in the house. That's why speaker is the head of the parliament. She or he is the presiding officer of the parliament, elected by the number of members of the Lok Sabha from amongst themselves. On the first day the parliament meets, speaker is elected, and there are certain, responsibilities are there for the speaker. Number 1, the speaker presides over the meetings of the Lok Sabha. The speaker is responsible to establish discipline in the house. If any member violates the system of, the system of the house, the speaker may suspend him or her. Temporarily, the member may be suspended by the speaker and can be expelled for the day or even an entire session. It can be done by the speaker. The speaker has the responsibility to see that each member gets a fair chance to say or to deliver their speeches, to chance to speak and be heard, and interprets. The speaker can interpret the rules and procedure, decides points of order or objection. His or her rulings are final. The speaker's rulings are final, and the speaker puts matter to vote and declares results of the house, results of the vote. The speaker sets an agenda for the session as well as the talk time for each day of each member of parliament. and no one can violate, no one can cross the limit. The time is allotted by the speaker. The order, and next one, the speaker allows questions and adjournment motion in the house. He may not allow a question or admit or an adjournment motion if it is not in the public interest. The speaker reads each bill and decides whether a bill is a money bill or ordinary bill. The speaker decides if any bill is a money bill or an ordinary bill. It is the speaker who presides over a joint session of the meeting of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The speaker is the spokesperson. The speaker is the spokesperson of the house and briefs the president on affairs of the house. The speaker is the link between whom? Link between the president and the Lok Sabha. That's why the role of speaker in the house is very important. The speaker continues in office, and even after the Lok Sabha is dissolved, till the next speaker is sworn in. That's why the role of speaker is important in the house. And the speaker generally does not like to expel any member. A member is given enough time to clarify his opinions, to ask any type of questions during question hours. But whenever the member, sometimes some members cross the limit, the time allotted for him or her, sometimes they cross it. In that case, speaker is compelled to make him stop. If he fails to follow the instruction of speaker, the member is generally expelled by the speaker, temporarily suspended from the house. And now the question hour. You know, there are some questions when the session in the Lok Sabha is held. First hour of each and every sitting is declared as the question hour. In this, the members of the house may ask the government questions about its politics, about its policies, about its issues, national and international significance. They may ask any type of questions. There are some types of questions like steered questions, unsteered questions, short questions. Steered question, verbal question answer from the minister is expected. Steered question in which a verbal answer is expected from the ministers, which ensures a debate on the topic. But unsteered questions means a written answer will suffice. The minister is liable to answer in written form. This is known as unsteered questions. And short questions, which is about events which require urgent attention of the minister, but the minister concerned has the opinion to refuse or answer such a question. This is known as, short question. Short question is not important. The minister may answer it or may not answer. It is not so important. So these are the three types of questions: steered questions, unsteered question, and short questions. And 0 hour, 12 noon. The time begins at 12 noon and extends till about 1 p.m. is known as 0 hour. During 0 hour, any type of question, any member of parliament can ask for any respective minister, and ministers are supposed to answer it with detailed informations. That's why ministers always get themselves prepared with necessary information while facing this type of questions during 0 hour. 0 hour is a very important hour, crucial hour. Various types of complicated questions and controversial questions are asked by the ministers, members of parliament for the ministers. So there are debates and discussions, and it is noticed that law and order is not maintained duly during 0 hour, because many members take this advantage and liberty, and speakers are forced to expel them or suspend them temporarily during 0 hour. Now, another point is that is very important, that is, powers and functions of the parliament. Powers and functions of the parliament. Members of parliament are supposed to debate on every bill that is introduced in the parliament and suggest modifications or amendments to them. And there are powers and functions of the parliament. Members have to vote each per bill. Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, both of them play important role in passing any bill. Members of parliament, they vote for it or against it, then bill ultimately is passed, and as soon as the president signs over the bill becomes a law in the country. The interpellation, it is the right of a member to question minister on the policies of the government. Interpellation, these questions are put to the ministers on the floor of the house during the questions. Purpose is to criticize the ministers, adverse publicity or television, promising appointment committee look into the matter. So this is the important, system which is thoroughly followed by each and every member of parliament in the house. Now the judicial function, the president, it has the sole right to impeach the president for violation of the constitution, or it can also remove judges of the Supreme Court, election commissioners and the Comptroller General, Auditor General for bringing allegations against them if they fail to follow the system of the constitution properly. The proposal for impeachment is brought against their name by the parliament. But a chance is given to them to prove whether the proposal for impeachment has been brought against their name is right or wrong. If they are able to prove it, if the proposal of impeachment which is brought against his or her name is incorrect, not correct, they have to prove it with necessary informations. Otherwise, if they fail to prove it, the person has to resign. So this is known as impeachment. And now financial function, it discusses and passes the annual budget. All money bills have been originated in the Lok Sabha. Railway budget also is presented by the Minister of Railways in the House. Now amendment of the Constitution, this is very important part of work of the Parliament. Amendment of the Constitution. The Parliament has the right. The Parliament has the right to amend the Indian Constitution. How? The Constitution often needs to be amended, modified to keep up with the changing political requirements of the country. The amendment must be made by both the Houses of Parliament by a simple majority of members present and voting by 1/3 majority of the total number of members present and voting, which not less than half of the total membership of the House. In that case, the amendment can be done. Otherwise, the process can be detained. In special cases, a special majority and rectification by special majority or at least half of the state legislature is required. In this cases, president entire assent is necessary. That's why the relationship between these two organs is very important. Legislature and executives. And the judiciary is an independent organ. Judiciary never depends on any organs, on either on executive or on legislature, or an executive or legislature. It can work independently. But the time when a judge fails to prove his ability to provide impartial judgment, and a proposal of impeachment can be brought against his name. In that case, the judge has to prove it whether he is able to shoulder his responsibilities or unable to do it. If it is proved, the person has to resign. So that's why it is said that special cases majority rectification is very important. Indian Constitution is required to be amended from time to time for the growth and all-round development of the country. The members of Parliament, the members of the ministers of the country, they play important role at the time of passing the proposal of amendment for the Constitution of India. So these are the important, my dear students, important important criteria, important functions the parliament has to shoulder from time to time: judicial functions, financial functions, amendment of the constitution, and afterwards relationship between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Council of Ministers, the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible for the Lok Sabha, the Council of Ministers. The Rajya Sabha members have no control over them. Though they are informed on all matters, they cannot bring a no confidence motion against a minister or Council of Ministers who, the members of the Rajya Sabha, they have no right to bring a proposal of no confidence motion, but the members of the Lok Sabha. Ordinary bills can be introduced by either house, but money bill can be introduced only by the Lok Sabha members. The Rajya Sabha can only give recommendations on the money bill. The budget is also tabled by the Lok Sabha, and all the suggestions are welcomed from the Rajya Sabha members. That's why Rajya Sabha gains power over the Lok Sabha on two occasions. It is said Rajya Sabha gains power over the Lok Sabha on two occasions. Firstly, when a subject in the state list assumes national importance. And now, next one, the Union Parliament can make laws on it. Rajya Sabha feels the need to create an all India service. It can exercise its power by taking precedence over the Lok Sabha. Only these are the two importances of Rajya Sabha over the power of Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha can exercise. Up to this, my dear students, few points are left. Tomorrow it will be completed. The next day, the next lesson. Thank you.